like all of you, I was once an itty-bitty baffled baby. At least, I think I was. And so, obviously, I was entirely at the mercy of those quote-unquote responsible adults around me. And if you'd like to hear all about how they utterly failed me, stick around and keep watching. And feel free to laugh at my pain. Somebody should get some use out of it.
We have such sights to show you.
I was, so far as my memories lead me to believe, a child of the 90s. The era of VHS and rental stores and, according to the MCU, bitchy superheroes with stanky monster feet. Now, at some point, and believe me, this will be a recurring theme in this particular series of videos, as it certainly is during my therapy, the adults around me were, for lack of a better term, neglectful. This profoundly distressing fact manifested in many ways, both minor and major. The time I was choking on a plastic whistle in front of Papa Buffoon, who was so wrapped up in his episode of Star Trek TNG as to not only ignore my distinct lack of oxygen, but also yell at me to quiet down, is but one example which springs immediately to mind. Although on a less life-threatening but still scarring end of the neglect spectrum, somebody somewhere at some time thought it wise to expose 4-year-old me to the horrific mind of Clive Barker through his very first movie, Hellraiser.
You remember?
No!
Come to Daddy.
Get the fuck off of me!
Hellraiser was a 1987 horror movie based on a 1986 novella written by the horribly demented Clive Barker, a man who seriously needs someone to ask him if he's okay, 'cause damn, just damn. For those of you luckily unfamiliar, the movie Hellraiser, also directed by Barker, focuses on a girl named Kirsty, her too-sensitive for this world father Larry, and his very non-ideal wife Julia. Oh, not to mention Larry's perverted brother Frank, who fucked Julia on top of her wedding dress, and later becomes a goopy semen monster and a skinless flesh vampire, but oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here.
I said, don't.
Now, if that intentionally vague synopsis doesn't make it clear, Hellraiser is highly sexual in nature, yet full of practical 80s body horror, gore, and terrifying monsters. That's a hell of a combo. When viewed today as an adult, it's honestly an entertaining, but only slightly less disturbing, flick with a small budget but lots of passion behind it. There's some decent world building and a lot of mystique, specifically when it comes to the box.
No! Give me that.
No!
Give it to me.
You want it?
AKA the Lament Configuration, a seemingly demonic puzzle box. The box seems to have a hypnotic effect on those who hold it, compelling them to solve it and therefore open a pathway to a hellish world, a world driven by pain and pleasure, wherein humans are tortured or seemingly morphed into monstrous shells of themselves. That's where Pinhead comes in. The leader of a sect of seemingly demonic, and I say seemingly because I don't know what the fuck they actually are, humanoid creatures who thrive on pleasure by way of torture. Something made very apparent by their very bodies, which are disfigured in horrible ways and adorned with leather BDSM suits. Because Clive Barker. These creatures take up only a handful of minutes within this first movie, but holy Jesus do they leave a lasting impression. They're both unpleasant to look at, but also promise to show viewers more horrors than we could ever comprehend, if only feckin' Kirsty would cooperate and give herself over to them. But Kirsty is a bit more preoccupied with the misdeeds of her wicked stepmother and Rumpel-Noskin, because the skinless Uncle Frank has recruited Julia to seduce unwitting horn dogs and bring them to his stanky wank attic so he can, penetrate them and suck the skin from their bodies. That happens. A lot. Like, a lot. And unfortunately, Kirsty doesn't make it home in time to save her father from that very same fate, being the last victim before Frank's human suit is finished. Then more stuff happens, and, this isn't a movie review. This is about me being forced to revisit traumatizing imagery from my childhood for your amusement. And dear Lord, did this movie do my head in. You humans are disgusting. To this day, I shudder to think what y'all got going on under the hood, with all that blood, muscle, and sinew just hiding under a suit of hairy, pimply flesh. That's just nasty, and holy shit, is this movie in your face with it.
There's nothing to be afraid of. Bet you make your daddy so proud, don't you? Beautiful.
This isn't happening.
I used to tell myself that. I used to try and pretend I was dreaming all the pain. But don't you kid yourself.
But the second movie is even worse. I mean, better in terms of entertainment value and storytelling, although one of the villains could have used their redesign before filming. But the sequel displays Julia Sand's birthday suit for quite a chunk of runtime, even as she seduces a fucked up doctor and, does things of a sexual nature. Seriously, has anybody checked on Clive Barker? Is he okay? I really don't think so. Wibbly-wobbly as I was, itty-bitty little me had no business seeing any of that. But I did, because adults suck. And if I were a human, which I'm pretty sure I wasn't unless I was, I would have spent the next several years of my childhood being freaked the fuck out over the idea that there was a bloody flesh vampire hiding under my very skin. Not to mention the existential dread of the idea of dying and being sent to hell, or whatever other world the Cenobites hail from, because those gimp suit sporting motherfuckers haunted my nightmares for a very, very long time until another, equally demented, figure took their place in my kitty brain. But that's a story for another day. And with an all-new Hellraiser movie being let loose onto the world to potentially disturb a whole new generation, something tells me I'm not leaving Clive Barker's world just yet. I'm baffled, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye!